Hi, this is Alex from Technical Education, and I'm going to be doing a video on basic sidechaining in Cubase. Now, before I dive into the DAW, I just want to very quickly recap what sidechaining is and how we can use it in modern productions. So, sidechaining is the process of using an existing track in the session to control the compressor on another one. So the most basic form of doing it is sidechaining something to a kick drum, for example. This may be something like a pad, or it could be the bass. That's often a very common technique to be using, is sidechaining a bass to the kick. But you can literally sidechain anything you want to create a pulsating feel. It's more of a creative choice, or as a mixing tool as well. So what happens is let's just use the pad and the kick, for example. So you have the pad that has a compressor on it, and you have a kick doing a 4 to the floor. What happens is that kick will control the compressor on the pad. So if that kick is doing 2, 3, 4, just straight 4 to the floor, then what the pad is going to be doing is ducking when the kick hits. So every time that kick hits, that compressor is triggered, so it will basically duck. So if you have quite a highly compressed pad, then when the kick hits, it's really going to duck, and then after it releases, it will come back up again. So that the compressor will be ducking and releasing every time the kick hits. Now, this will create a pulsating feeling, and is often used in lots of modern productions in different genres. The other way of doing it is more of a mixing thing. So for example, if you needed to sidechain the bass to the kick, for example, because you have to have the bass and kick slightly glue a bit more, or the bass slightly duck every time the kick hits because it's getting in the way, then you can use sidechaining to that effect. So there's many different uses of it. You can use it on any instrument, on any track. You can sidechain anything to each other, but it's how you do it, if it's a creative choice or if it's a mixing choice. So now we're going to just dive into Cubase, and I'll demonstrate what I mean. So like I said, I have a 4 to the floor kick. Very simple. It's just one from Groove Agent, just literally taking it 4 to the floor and repeated it for a number of bars. Now what I have on top is just a pad, very simple pad that I have in Retrolog. Really not much going on. I wanted to do this for demonstration purposes. So we have that kick and we have the pad. So here's what it sounds like together. Obviously it's not going to sound very good, but just for demonstration. Okay, so that's how it sounds at the moment. We can now, through sidechaining, create a ducking effect on this. So if I go to my Retrolog pad, firstly just even out the tracks, hit E for my effects channel, go on to compressor. Now on Cubase here specifically, I'm going to activate this sidechain by clicking this button here. I have to click on this arrow to set up my sidechain inputs, go to add sidechain input, and literally just choose kick. Now, and from there, if I hit play, you can see it's slightly working at the moment, but we need to lower the threshold of the compressor. I'm going to go quite extreme just to show you for demonstration purposes. I'm going to lower that threshold, and we're going to increase the ratio. And as a result, you can hear that pad ducking down every time that kick hits, and you can hear it releasing every time it comes off. So that is the most basic form of doing it. You can use that to really create some pumping effects, to really give a bit more drive in your tracks, and you can do that with multiple different things. So if I wanted to, for example, I'll take something now, I'll take a hi-hat loop, go into a techno thing, just perhaps go hat in my media bay, hat loop maybe. Sorry, so I'll search for just another loop, just a basic one. Hat. Okay, a percussion one, so we can do this now. Okay, so this would be a good example. So like I say, it doesn't always have to be a kick and a pad. I can sidechain this hi-hat loop now to the kick. So here's what we got pre-sidechaining. Okay, now let's just go into our compressor again, activate it, click on the down arrow, add sidechain input, and go with the kick. And at the moment, here's how that sounds. I'm going to quickly loop it. Just tweak. So again, that demonstrates the pumping nature that you get, especially with 4-to-the-floor kick stuff. Now, let me just experiment here with something else. We have that hi-hat loop. What happens if I sidechained that pad to the hi-hat loop? Now, because that hi-hat loop is a lot busier, there's a lot more going on, you'll perhaps get a more interesting pattern on the sidechain. So let me just go into my compressor again, go into the setup. I'm going to turn off that kick one. In fact, no, I'll delete that one. Go to add sidechain input and go to the perk loop. Now let's just hear it. Let me just turn off this compressor first. Yep, and turn off the kick just to hear it. Turn this down. Now it's a bit more subtle, this one, because it's quite a lot busier in the percussion loop and there's not that much time to breathe. But if you can just experiment, just sidechain something to another, see what effect it gives. And because often that you'll find that just by experimenting, something will pump and come out at a cool point in the track that perhaps will give it a new lease of life. So experiment, see what you can do. We've got these on the compressor. You can just tweak with things like the attack time and the release time. So that will obviously change the time of the ducking. So you can have a much more subtle pumping effect on the pad, or you can have a very quick release, very quick attack, and have it a bit more intense. So really experiment, see what you can do. It's such a common thing to do in productions nowadays. It's used all the time for different reasons. And this is just barely scratching the surface as to what you can do with it. So play around, and yeah, I really hope you enjoyed this video. Subscribe, hit the bell button so you're notified of future videos, and yeah, I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.